We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Steve and Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 2061. Today, Jill and I are talking about how to end a listing agreement with the wrong real estate agent. Pretty popular topic, largely because I think it's a pain in the butt. But geez, we all do it. We all choose wrong listing agreements, and midway through the agreement, we say
happens.
It's going to work.
It happens. Not very often. It's so infrequent, but I just want to talk about today, and I'll explain the situation. I'll explain how to best set yourself up going into it, what to do in the middle while you're trying to decide if there's something to save, and then what to do at the end if you decide there's not. We need to part ways. I'll help you with that. It's not tragic, and it's not hard, and you can do it where everybody walks away, okay.
The truth is, I want to hear what she's going to say too.
Thanks.
Each day on the show, we answer a question from our Land Academy member Discord forum and take a deep dive into land-related topics by popular request. Let's take a question, Joe.
All right, Mike wrote, leads are going kind of slow for us. Is everyone else experiencing this? Is it me? What is everyone's experience? This is an interesting time. I was reading about this in Discord and then some other stuff online. And one of the people commented there's so much active for sale. So here's what I think it is. I was reading the discussions and let me paint the picture. Sometimes there's times in the year that things just fly off the shelves, right? Like summertime, springtime, we just experienced that, especially during COVID. Everybody knows kind of wherever you were, houses were flying off the shelves as people were moving and making all these changes because they could. We didn't have to go to an office anymore, kind of thing. And then we had crazy prices happening, so a lot of people are making changes. So, and then now we're kind of leveling off a little bit. We got a couple things to think about, and this was the whole discussion. Hold on, everyone. Number one, and especially as we air this, we're right before the election. That's a huge thing. It's got a lot of people on their things on their minds, and they're waiting to make some major life decisions until we know what's going to happen. I don't roll that way. I know you don't roll that way. But a lot of people do. They're like, I don't know where I want to be. Let's see how my state ends up. Maybe I'm a swing state. Maybe I might leave. People have done things like that. Also, it's kind of the fall time of year. There's always things that happen too. There's always, seasonality is real, especially in a lot of part of the country. And what's really interesting is, and we watch this because Jack tracks this every week on our Thursday weekly member calls in Land Academy of a close call. He looks at, what percentage of properties listed for sale now versus last year, by the week. Our days on the market going up, our days on the market going down, like nationwide. We're watching for these trends. So, and it's not, there happened a few things in the last couple of weeks where there's just been a lot of property. I think it was 30% more property on the market right now, trending last couple weeks versus the same time last year. So interesting. So there's all those things that play into this. Go ahead, Jeff.
Reading through the lines, between the lines in Mike's question, what he's really saying is the stuff that I've been doing in my business for quite some time isn't working anymore. What the hell? Are you doing it or is it me? That's the real question here, I think, because that's the way I would ask the question, mostly in the mirror, not to anybody else. And the fact is, Jill and I have been at this for many decades. And I can tell you with confidence, I am shocked and amazed that we have done as well as we have financially, and that we continue to do that. And when I look at why, it's because I'm not surprised at all that when stuff slows down, and I know what to do. Mm-hmm. You have to really look into your soul and make the changes. I don't do the soul searching anymore at all. We just automatically make changes. Mm-hmm. The thing that we're doing right now that's changing everything for our business for the positive is diversifying back into other product types. For years, we were very anti-buying and selling SFRs, houses. And now we've found a new rekindled interest in that because the way that we've been buying and selling land has really slowed down. Mm-hmm. Is it the election? Probably part of it. Is it the fact that there's so many people attempting to teach this that everybody's sending mail to properties that have never received mail forever? So there's a saturated market. There's an election. There's an economic scenario that we've identified, like Jill said on the Thursday calls. You have to change stuff.
Mm-hmm. But I like what you said. We never panic about it.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I know why we've done so well over the years. And I don't, you know what it is, Mike? I don't sweat it. I don't sweat
I
this
don't
stuff
sweat it either.
anymore because it's going to change and that's okay. When things are slow, too, to me, it's like I go into buying frenzy mode. You know, one of our guys, it was really sweet. We just started Career Path 10. Yay. Earlier this week. And there was a guy on there who said, you know, gosh, for years with my other business, I panicked. You know, this was like COVID times and there were property prices going. It was actually it was before COVID. No, was he talking? I'm trying to remember what time frame he was talking about, but basically he was watching his note mortgage business and property management go down. He's like, gosh, and I looked at it wrong. I should have been buying everything back then. So it's a lot of it is perspective too.
We have the ironic luxury of Jill and I of going through the 2009 real estate depression that happened because of subprime loans. The feds have since then addressed that, and that's no longer an issue. Predatory lending, let's call it, is no longer an issue. But now there's just new issues.
Mm-hmm.
There's issues with COVID and pushing back and allowing properties that should be foreclosed on to not happen. So and 10 years from now, this will happen again. We'll have an uptick after this. 10 or 11 years, every 10 or 11 years, this cycle happens, and you need to just plan for it.
Yep.
When you're young and everything's going great, you start to think that you're bulletproof. I went through all this. You start to create reasons in your head why you're smarter than everybody and why that you figured it out and no one else can, and you just don't understand why. But the fact is, you had a good run, and it's about to end.
Here you go.
You don't want to sit around and say, wow, I'm amazing. You want to sit around and say, I can't believe this has worked this long. It's going to stop at some point. I better be ready for it.
And pivot and make changes, and that's why you're with us, and that's why you're in Land Academy. Why we're here doing deals right with you, staying one step ahead of this, you know,
right.
and helping you through it. So that was a great question.
We have each other.
Glad you brought it up.
We have each other. That really helps because Jill sees things differently than I do. I see everything. I apply money to everything. And Jill applies.
I thought you would say like one of us is Eeyore and one of us is Tigger, and you figure out who that is.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah. When has Tigger ever said, I'm really concerned about the financial implications of what we're doing right now, Eeyore?
Ta-ta for now. That's all Tigger says. TTFN. So, okay.
Today's topic, how to end a listing agreement with the wrong real estate agent.
Okay. So let me paint the picture. You have a property for sale. It's more than $100,000. It doesn't make sense to do Facebook Marketplace and do it yourself. It's this great area. You bought it for 30. You're selling it for 110. You have the commission baked in. It's a property and an area which most to do at that price range kind of commands that level. And an agent, because most buyers are going to be working with agents when they're going for these bigger, more expensive, I should say, properties kind of thing. And you need to get it out there on the MLS and all that good stuff. Other ways to do it, but still it just makes sense. So the bottom line is you did everything right. You found the area. You went and found an agent who just sold 3 properties in the last 6 months, just like yours. And you signed an agreement with them. And here we go. And it starts off good. You guys are having a good time, good communication. And then something happens. And
Honeymoon period.
yeah, you're like, they're not around. They're not really taking my calls. Gosh, they just don't seem to be answering the phone at all. Well, shoot, if they're not answering the phone when I call, are they answering the phone when potential buyers call? Where are they? Let me go check the listing. Oh, views are down. Well, shoot. And the pictures don't look like, that's not the pictures that I approved. I trusted this person. What do I do? Pause. This can happen. It's a real situation, you know, and maybe you even did 3 deals with them before, and this now they're just kind of stale a little bit. Stuff happens. So, number one, was there stuff that you should have done different in the beginning? And then how do I get out of it? So, a couple things are in the beginning, when you're picking this person, you do want to make sure you have that communication and then set up how and when and how often and make it, like, hey, I'd like to get weekly updates from you. Is that too much? Bi-weekly, I want to know what's going on. I want to be accessible to you too. We're in this together. So kind of establish a communication routine and format. 2, always do 6-month, don't do more. When I go in with these agents and say, hey, I want to sell it, I want to know what you think's going to sell it, I don't know, between 30, 90 days, there's no fire. What do you think the price would be? And they're like, oh, well, this is how we should list it. This is what I think we should do. Great. So when you have that chat and they come with you at a year agreement, you can go, hold on a moment. Remember, we talked about selling us within 30 to 90 days. That's why we price it this way. Let's do a 6-month agreement. If it doesn't go for any reason and you and I are okay with it, we'll extend that. And most agents are like, you know what? Totally understand. Get it. Let's do that. So we got the 6-month thing. And then I'm trying to think of that's pretty much, and then the posting. Third thing would be, you got the communication, you're on the same page with the timeline. Check the posting. I have been guilty of this in the past myself, where I trusted the agent so much. I just like, oh, it's live. And I even have a link and I don't go look at it. I'm like, so you need to get the link, pull it up, make sure it looks good. It passes everything. You're like, wow, those are 30 phenomenal pictures. I can see everything that I would want to see as a buyer. And wow, that's a great description. You want to feel like that, like this person's earning their money. This is going to be awesome. And phone numbers there, everything checks out. Whew, I can sit back and work on the next thing. So that's to do going into it. But let's just say something happened in the middle now. The honeymoon's over. They got distracted. Maybe they're not doing well in life. They could have some life event. They're like, I'm, even trying to decide if they want to be in the real estate game. You don't know what's going on, but all you know is they're not working for you. So first thing I would do is, of course, try to reach them and tell them what's going on. Hey, I haven't been able to get with you, and call them, text them, email them, hit them all 3 ways. Like, I'm concerned. I haven't heard from you. I haven't got an update in a while. It looks like the views are down, fill in the blank. Give them a chance. Tell them like, hey, the posting doesn't look great. Can we refresh it? I noticed the photos that took were a cloudy day. It wasn't that pretty. And can we get another photographer out there? Breathe them some new life into it. Even ask them, what other ideas do you have? Things like, we could pull it down, put it back, let it reset a minute. I've done all these things. I'm not a fan of any agent saying, well, it's your fault, it's your property, we need to lower the price, because we all went in this together. The way I do it, and I hope you have learned to do it too, is let your agent start with the price conversation, not you. And the reason you picked them in that area, because they're the local expert, not me, them. I have it in my head. And often, which is great, I have had numbers in my head, called local expert agents and had them price it higher than I thought, and then they got higher than I thought. So I've learned to like back off, really go into it with trusting them in these situations. So you've done that, you've had a communication, you're trying to do it, then they're either agreeable or they're not. If they're agreeable, great. You got a good agent. You guys are going to work this through together and you just continue on. They're not. They don't answer the phone. You don't know where they are. They're not agreeable to anything. All they say is it's your fault. The property actually sucks now. I didn't realize how sucky it was. We either dropped 50 grand and fire sale it or, whatever. They're just hanging in there. That's when you can say, how about this? How about we part ways? You're not into it, and for whatever reason, that's okay. Let's just undo this contract. I appreciate what you've done, and I'm gonna redo this. I'm gonna take this back on my own, and most agents, if you've tried and you've had communications, you're not in agreement, it's not going how you want, most agents I have found are like, fine, let's part ways. Because they feel that too. Whatever you want, they aren't capable of doing. And they don't want to continue down that path and be a failure to you and stare at this property as well. And maybe it's out of their wheelhouse. Maybe they realize this is not my forte. I need to get back over here to what I was doing over in this part of the whatever county. And they are happy to sit. Or they even see you as a pain in the butt because you have all these requests. I don't care. Whatever it is, part ways. And it's very easy for them to send you an agreement, undoing your agreement, releasing you from your 6-month contract in month 3, wherever you guys are for in the situation. So that's how you do it. And then it's going to pull it. It's going to come down. It's going to show, delisted, if you will. And that's fine. That's going to give you time to regroup, figure out how you want to do it. Maybe just like, you're like, this agent never even sent out neighbor letters. What were they thinking? I'm going to do neighbor letters. And maybe you sell it yourself at this point, or most likely is what I've done is I've already isolated somebody else in the area and had a little conversation with them, and they're on the same page, and they've said, yeah, you know what? I know that person, and it doesn't look like their best work, and I know I can make this happen for you. And then you can reset and move over there.
Jill's very much more forgiving on this topic than I am. I have 2 simple points to make at the end here. Number 1, the most successful real estate agents in the country are experts at getting listings. They're not experts at selling real estate, and that applies here. So the sales pitch that you got, or the congeniality, or whatever it is that made you make a decision to sign up with this real estate agent, was not rooted in data on your part. So that it's your job to say, this person's got 72 listings in the area and none of them have sold. Maybe they're not the best person, or they have 72 listings in the area and 68 of them were sold in the first 12 months. So it's your job to take a look. But I'll tell you, being a great selling you on getting a listing and selling your piece of real estate are 2 completely separate talents. Number 2, there are real estate agents that there's 2 types of real estate agents after they get the listing. The first kind, the unsuccessful kind, will say something like this: I looked at it and I think we should list it, throw it up there and see what happens. The vast majority of real estate agents are exactly like that. Let's just get it in the system and see what happens. That's code for, I'm not going to do anything at all after you sign this listing agreement, except put it on the MLS and then go get the next listing. That's the way the system's set up. The good ones, like the Mossy Oak guys, or the ones that are really in the land, are going to come to you and say, you just bought 40 acres in that zip code? Well, I know exactly who's going to buy this. Let's get the paperwork done. I think we should adjust your price to this. You can expect an offer within X amount of time. That confidence. So whatever Jill said, I'm sure is right. I stopped.
Well, the topic today is how to end the listing agreement. So that's where we throw that. So you're good. I like you gave more things on picking the right guy. That's always a good thing.
Join us tomorrow, where we talk about what's an acceptable HOA in your land acquisition. There's lots of different types of HOAs. I didn't really realize that when I started. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.